I found in my life that art brings everything to life. Art has influenced my life in my own personal life and decisions, in my career, in my connection to other people. It's a way that I've learned to use what I know through art to communicate, to teach, to raise family, to learn to appreciate and respond to others.
I would say throughout my entire life, the most important relationship that I've had with art has been with my grandmother. She started me off at a really young age doing every kind of possible media that I could. I would say I remember art experiences with her when I was like 3 or 4, and we just would continue to do things, throughout our time together. And she passed away in 2001, and that was really hard for me because she was the one who really kind of tapped into my creative side. So I would say just having that tie to someone who inspires you to be creative, that was really important for me.
Art has been important to me all my life, actually. I think I knew at a pretty early age that it was going to be something that I would be involved in somehow. I think it's a really nourishing activity. I think it's probably formed the way I live and how I live, in many ways the way I view the world. It's just a very nourishing kind of activity to be involved with and to surround myself with.
Well, when I was little, I was pushed to do art because my mom thought I was good at it, so it was a bonding experience for her and I. And as I grew older, it became the place during the school day where I could self-express, but most importantly, it's the only place that I experience what they call flow, which means that everything else in the world shuts down and I'm just focusing on creating, editing, fixing, making, creating, and that whole cycle. So it's a really good place for me to kind of be thoughtful and meditative.
As far back as I can remember, I've always been interested in art. I've always been, drawing was probably my first interest, and then as I went through school, I had great teachers in high school, and that kind of inspired me to become an art teacher. I had a brother who was also an artist. He inspired me. And then from that point on, it was always an interest of mine to look at art, talk about art, make art, and I think I'm at that point now where I like both making and teaching art.
We have been very fortunate at Wilmington to have been a part of a lot of wonderful students' lives, and some have gone on to incredible feats of their artistic extensions of their lives, from graphic artists to painters to welders to sculptors to filmmakers, and it never ceases to amaze me how just beginning to show people their potential, how quickly they respond and want to go on and find out their own answers to life.
When I do ask them, they talk about it being the only place where they can bring their life experiences into the classroom and really kind of focus on what they cherish and what they believe in.
I think art is important to all the students that we interact with in our school districts in many ways, but one of the primary ways is for to convince students that they can accomplish something. Ultimately, they're their own teacher in the end, and I guess I hope that it proves to them that they can be really successful.
I would say that art altogether is kind of a different environment. I know sometimes we have people come down on us because our classrooms are a little less structured than other classes. But I think that's a really good place or an environment for kids that might not do well in, say, math or science or history to flourish. It gives them an outlet where there's not a right or wrong. They can experiment a little bit with problem solving, coming up with creative ideas or strategies, working their way around different problems that we throw at them. So I would say district-wide, it just gives some kids that might not have an opportunity to really feel like they're successful, give them a place to feel safe and enjoy coming to school.
I think what art does is it gives students another outlet. They don't always have that option of being creative thinkers. So so when they come to my class, they get problems that they would not necessarily get in their homeroom class. And they get to use skills that they don't necessarily use in their homeroom class too. So it's an outlet, it's a way of thinking that is different than perhaps what they would typically do with problems that they would typically have in their homeroom class. But it's definitely important, and I think without art, we would have a lot of kids that would not be well-rounded.
Art is pure fun and joy to me. There's something that happens when one creates that is so different than any other of life experiences. And it's really hard to put into words, but it takes you to another place. It allows so much freedom and growth that you just want to keep coming back for more.
I think that the most enjoyable thing about art is that there's no right answer, and that you can be good at a combination of things or not good at a combination of things and still be thoughtful and have this awesome product that a lot of learning happened in. And I think that makes it unique and part of a diverse curriculum for them.
I would say it's not always enjoyable. Sometimes you sit down to work on a project. I know myself, I'll sit down sometimes and be really frustrated, not knowing where to go next, not really liking what's happening. And I think because I've had that same experience, when I see a kid struggle and not enjoying it, I can kind of approach them in a manner that I would want to be approached when I'm stuck. Sometimes you don't have creative days. Sometimes you just can't force it, but that's what's enjoyable about art. If you're having a non-creative day, or you're struggling, or you're hung up on a certain problem in your artwork, you can take a break, come back, and then have a different mindset the next day. So, like I said, it goes back to not having a right or wrong. I guess that's what makes it enjoyable.
I think anytime a kid comes to me or a student comes to me, they're unique, and I have to approach them, where they're at, and then kind of bring them along at their own pace. But ultimately, I think as they go through the curriculum at the elementary level, they're going to have so many different experiences along the way that they're going to evolve and become better. Probably the way they see the world around them. I think that, in a nutshell, that's what art is learning how to see and interpret and kind of find meaning in their environment. And I hope I give those skills to the kids.
Art can relate to so many different people in different ways. And it can be through the expression of art themselves. You can find out things about your own personalities, your own growth. It also helps us to learn collaboratively with other people, which then we benefit from understanding and maybe becoming more tolerant people, and in doing so, hopefully become better citizens.
It's part of human expression, whether we know that we're embracing it or not. If we think we're not, we are anyway. I am out to, in some ways, to convince people that don't think they're artists that they are, that it is for everyone.
I think I like having a relationship with art to where I can share it with other people. And that's what I think I get out of teaching most days.
I feel like there's a lot of pressure on schools right now to teach to the test. It's my belief that we only strengthen the students, we make them better, and I think we contribute to the success of the student on the standardized test as well. So it's evident in Wilmington. Wilmington has a great art department. If you come to our art fair, you can see the growth in the students. It's tremendous. I look forward to the art fair this year. I know the art teachers are working together and collaborating, and it's an exciting place to be if you're a student in Wilmington.
I have a unique opportunity, I think, to really be in this position to affect people in this kind of subject area, and ultimately I feel like it's really important for everyone to understand that being a creative person is part of being a human being, and I think being human is what connects us all, and that's why, and another part of why being in an art class to me is important.
So artists use their imagination when they create their artwork. Are you using your imagination now?
Yes.